Hey everybody, it's Erica back again from In the Company of Cards. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here a while, welcome back. I use Lenormand, however you want to say it, to look at what's coming towards us. The author of The Language of Lenormand. People have asked me, how do they get the book? You can find it anywhere books are sold. And uh, if you click the More button under each of my videos, you can find the links to everything. I have the book, which is also available in French, which is so cool. With the book, I have a self-study course that you can take at your own pace. It's lessons that I have recorded that will help you learn to read the cards. Um, what else? My deck is available for sale as well. So, there are a lot of ways. There's a link there for how to get in touch with me if you'd like a private reading, because I do those. They're half an hour and then 60 minutes as well. So that's that on that. Um, I wanted to come on just to look at a couple of issues and to say that I will come on the 4th with Lena, um, but it might be a little bit later than you're usually used to seeing me. So I think that what I might do is put that video off until the 5th. I'm going to record it on the 4th, but I'll put it up on the 5th. And I will come on here on the 3rd to give a last look to how the 4th will be. So I won't be on tomorrow because tomorrow's the day that I write my Substack. It's Wednesday. So if you'd like your fix of me, go to substack.com and look for In the Company of Cards or look for my name, and you will find where I do a weekly article. And I use Lenormand, I use tarot, and I use Adinkra. And I sort of give the cards space to have a conversation with each other that is always deep and rich. So if you'd like to see my writing, go there. It's free. Some people do subscribe, but it's not required. They just, some people will subscribe, do a paid subscription. Payment is not required to read anything that I write. I'd love, though, if you would subscribe and read, however, whether paid or free. Everything is free of charge there for me. So, a couple of issues I thought I would look at. Um, One is the Diddy trial. We know that the trial has gone to the jury. We know that the jury has apparently um, uh, reached a verdict on 4 of the 5 counts. We don't obviously know what the verdict is because they are hung up on the first count. And the first count is racketeering. In other words, all these bad things that he is deemed or accused anyway of having done, did he sort of um, organize an enterprise around it? So that there were a lot of people involved in keeping all of the moving parts of the thing going. Racketeering, that's what that's called. And so apparently they're hung up on that. They're going to come back tomorrow. And I'm just going to ask the cards whether he will be convicted on all charges, in which case he could spend the rest of his life in jail. So let's see. How can a man who has daughters be like that? Uh, anyway, Diddy. We know that in court today, before the court was adjourned for the evening, the defense attorneys and the people who were on Diddy's team, meaning his friends and family members, etc., seemed really concerned, we'll call it, and that the prosecution team seemed very relaxed. It's very interesting that they've only been deliberating for like a day and a half and have already settled on what they want to do with 4 out of those 5 charges. So I don't think it looks good for him, but I'm asking, will he be convicted on all the charges? We will use the older man because apparently he looks kind of old now, being in jail without hair dye, etc. Plus these charges hanging over your head. So he looks old. So we're going to use the old man for him and see what his fate is. Okay, so this is standing for Diddy. Okay, so we have the anchor, we have the tree, we have him, we have the heart, and we have the clouds. So these are pretty interesting. And of course, you saw that I drew clarifiers on some of them. Um, the anchor, I mean, uh, I think he's going to go down for this. An anchor will weigh you down. Um, the fifth card, sorry, is clouds. And so I think this speaks to where things are right now, is that they are still unclear as to what they're going to come down on in that first charge, that racketeering charge. This thing that he was engaged in, these things he was engaged in, were over a very long period of time. And I can mirror this card, the tree, which stands for a long time, with the heart, which is fascinating. And one of the things that I saw a commentator say, and I thought, she's right, is that what makes this case different is that the women who he's accused of having wronged, we'll just say, uh, all said that in the midst of it, they were confused and they really loved him. And what's interesting it is to see that in a court of law, the law seems to understand that you can love someone and still be their victim at the same time. I think legally that's really interesting. So I pulled cards on him. We have the stork, we have the fox, but then we have the mountain. So here he is, positive change. I think he's held out hope that his lawyers would get him off. I don't know how, considering that they didn't call any witnesses. He didn't testify. And I mean, but he's engaged in that magical thinking that everything's going to be okay, that he's too clever by half, and that his team is too clever by half, his legal team. But look, they get stopped. They get headed off at the pass. I don't think that he will get off. They'll be stuck. Um, this heart card, again, these women have said that even in the midst of it all, they thought that they loved him, which, I mean, seems to me to make him even worse because he took advantage of their confusion, groomed them, obviously, to love him. And we have the clarifiers for the heart here, which are the scale, the key, and the fish. I think that the lawyers did a very good job of explaining this oxymoronic idea that you can be loved or feel love for your abuser, and that does not make them any less of an abuser, and any less answerable to the law for what they do. So I think that's really interesting. Um, key, I can mirror the key with this legal card. So the law seems to, I mean, even though the world that we live in right now would not seem to indicate that there's that kind of what sensitivity in the law. I think in this case, the law gets it that love makes people do crazy things. And I don't say, I'm not saying on his part, I'm saying on the part of the women. Um, this is the card for emotion. It's also the card for money. I think they were enthralled to him, both emotionally and financially. And again, in the eyes of the law, apparently, I don't think that that's going to make that mean that that's any less of a crime that he committed against them. So we have clouds, but so this is confusion. Like, how is it possible for you to stay with your abuser? People would say that about Cassie. Like, why did she stay with him? Well, it's complicated, right? But I think that the prosecutors made a really good showing of clarifying that confusion for people. I think that there will be a quick verdict tomorrow. This is the card for quick. I do not think it will be lucky for Diddy. I think this is just about it being quick. And I think that the message will be you're done for, you're sunk. That's it. So I think they will find him guilty on all charges and that he will go away maybe for the rest of his life. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Uh, so that's Diddy done. The next thing I want to look at is the big bad bill. I told you what I saw would happen with it, which in fact did happen. It's been rewritten and massaged and everything else, and the Senate has now voted it through. It has to now go back to the House. There have been some um, big changes made to it. None of them anything that we need to be jumping up and down and being thrilled about as it goes back to the House. And remember, he wants to sign it on the 4th of July. I saw that he would be signing the bill on the 4th of July. So whether the bill passes or not, I already told you it was going to pass. That's a done deal. But what I would like to look at is, moving forward, what will be the results of this big bad bill? Not for us, because we know they're going to be bad. I would like to know what will be the consequences for the party, the Republican Party that passed this bill. So I think for the party, I'll use the birds. These are, this group of people who came together and strong-armed each other and met in under cover of night. And I'm going to use the birds for the party. And I would like to know how will this bill affect the party? So I could use the letter for the bill, but I want the universe to be clear that I already understand the ramifications of the bill for the population. I just want to know, Schadenfreude, right? I would like to know what are the consequences for the party. So I am going to use the birds. Okay, let's see what we get. Oops, it's a little bit low. Okay. Remember, we're looking for birds to stand for the Republican Party. Okay, so that's the party. Okay. There's still a lot of people on that side who are just um, mesmerized by you know who. But this bill will have his signature on it, his big, you know, Sharpie signature on it, blunt Sharpie signature. And it will, the responsibility for it uh, rests with him and with that party, the Republican Party. So cards that we have are the sun, the snake, this is the party, scales, and then we have the bear. So it will become abundantly clear and in fairly short order, um, but abundantly clear how bad this bill is. I mean, let's say you have insurance and let's say you're not on Medicaid. Do you not think your premiums are going to go up because of this? There will be no one untouched by the specifics of this bill. So, again, the parliamentarian did her job, did the best she could. Um, but this is going to be bad, and in the heat of it, the light of it, will be abundantly clear very soon. We have the party in the middle. Here we have the scales card and the bear. So it will be clear that the people have been, um, what I would say, overwhelmed, um, beaten up. This is the card for, you know, being overpowered. I think that's what that is, but in a legal way, in a legal way. And the fact that we have the snake mirroring the scales will cause people at some point soon to say, wait a minute, this was legal? Then there's a problem with our system of government. There's a problem that needs to be rectified. We have the Republican Party again sunk by this anchor, not safe, sunk. Um, and we have the woman and the garden. So I think that they will be weakened in the eyes of the people. This is the people. This is them being weakened. This is them being sunk. We have the scales card, which is, again, the law. And the clarifiers are the tree, you know who, and the fox. They will feel that he used the law, but really the legislative branch, um, used the law to get what he wanted, and he for himself and his friends, and it's going to affect our health in all kinds of ways. I mean, even ways that are not health related, right? Um, that are not directly like hospital and illness related are still we're still going to be affected by this bill. So it will have long ranging um, effects because the tree is a long time. And I mean, the money has not been budgeted now for certain things. So when we see, oh, wait a minute, this is not good, people are suffering, there won't be the money to do anything about it. So I think people will feel that he pulled a fast one, which of course he did, uh, and as did the party, and that the party also let itself be bossed around, pushed around, um, kind of bullied. It's a card for the bully, bullied into voting for it. There are a lot of people who voted for it because they were more than willing to vote for it. But I do think there were Republicans who were afraid they were going to be primaried. And so they voted his way. They're afraid of Trump. He is the bully. And it will be abundantly clear, first card, last card, that he bullied, that they've been bullied into it. Do you want people who are your elected representatives to be susceptible to bullying? Because they can't get away with saying, well, it's not our fault. He bullied us. Come on. Maybe we need to elect people who are not, who are bully proof. And then we have this bully card. So what, again, what will the result of passing this bill be? Uh, so for this card, we have the mountain, the mice, and the rider. Again, I think that I've been saying this the whole time. I can take the rider and I can mirror it with the first card, which is the sun. The message will come across finally loud and clear to everybody and sundry who has not wanted to see it, who this party is and who the head of this party is. And every bad thing that happens just marches us closer to revolution. I'm just saying. So this is not good for him any more than this is. He will not win friends, nor will the party win friends for having pushed this bill through. So again, I talk about nails in coffins. The coffin didn't come up, but this is another nail in their coffin. And the people will be sending that message loud and clear. All right. Now, the elephant in the room, uh, for the moment anyway, is continues to be Musk. I did many readings earlier on where I told you that if it was a fight between the black hats and the red hats, uh, meaning Musk's contingent versus Bannon's contingent, that Bannon's contingent would win. And now here we are. Elon has been cast out the Garden of Eden. There is enmity, meaning dislike, between these two men. But more than that, I think that Michael Cohen made a very good point in his Substack this morning, where he talked about the fact that, personality aside, and think of it as not personal, it's about power. Which of these two men can wield the most power? We know that Elon thinks with his limitless money that the answer is him. But is it? Is it? Uh, Musk and you know who are incontinent with their emotions. I'll just put it that way. They can't control themselves. And so, you know, Rocket Man has said that he will primary anybody who voted for the bill that we just talked about. And so a lot of people thought, ooh, maybe that means he'll throw money to the Democrats. Well, apparently that's not what it means at all. Because now he's saying that he will form a third party, that the two-party system is inefficient and just not good. And so he wants to form a party. And so I guess the question to ask is, will his third party gain traction? Will Musk's idea to fund and found a third party gain traction? Uh, let's let Spirit take the wheel here and pick all the cards. All right. Will Musk's idea to form a third party, I think he wants to call it the America Party, whatever. Will that gain traction? Okay, we're gonna let Spirit pick everything. Clarifiers. Okay. So the question is, will Musk's plan to form a third party gain traction? So we have the fox, the man, the garden, Clover, and the whip. So Musk he really thinks that he's too clever by half. He really thinks that he's the smartest guy in the room. He may be the richest guy in the room, but does that make him the smartest guy in the room? I'm not sure. And I can mirror it with the whip. And you've heard me say that the whip is sort of harsh words going back and forth, you know, ad hominem attacks, arguments, that kind of thing. That's what they're engaged in now. But he thinks that he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. Um, I think this is 47. And I think 47 will deal with Rocket Man quick, fast, and in a hurry. And in the center, we have the garden. So obviously, what they are vying for, each of them, is the vote of the people, the goodwill of the people, the allegiance of the people, the loyalty of the people. So I pulled cards on that garden, and we have the letter, the White House in this case, and the snake. So a couple of things. I've been keeping track of what Anonymous has been saying, and they're supposedly going to make this big announcement around the 4th of July, but they've been making little, I don't know, pre-announcements um, ahead of that. And so one of the things that we know for a fact is that it's not just that people stayed home. It's not just that certain groups voted a certain way, and I won't beat that horse because, you know how I feel about that. And it was the fact that the vote was manipulated. We know Starlink had something to do with it. 47 couldn't help himself. We've got a secret, right, Mike? Talking to, Mike Johnson. He, I mean, he told on himself. Musk has told on himself. Rocket Man, sorry. So, what Anonymous is saying is not anything new. Um, but people are aware that there were bad actors and bad actions involved in the voting process for the White House. So people are aware of that. Um, And we know that Rocket Man has something to do with it. So is he whom you trust to form a third party? Come on. I think I think 47, I can I can mirror these two cards. I think 47 will deal with Musk in short order, will bring him down. I think the anchor again is not a good card here. Sometimes the anchor is a good card, especially when you say Clover. Oh, Clover, that sounds great. So is this not like luck and stability? No, it's not. And how do I know? I'm using intuition, but I'm also looking at the cards because there are two more clarifiers here, right? So I think that 47 will deal with Rocket Man quickly, chop him off at the knees. And then the other clarifiers are clouds and cross. I don't think that Rocket Man realizes the danger he's in. Cross is a card of pain. Clouds is a card of obfuscation and, you know, obscuring of reality, things done on the DL, as we say, meaning uh, under cover of night, not in broad daylight. I don't know. I think Elon needs to be careful. This is not good. Uh, there'll be a lot of talk about this party, and really he's baiting and trolling 47 when he talks about the party. But that trolling and that baiting and all of that, he will be weakened. Every time he opens his mouth, he's creating more problems for himself. And I'm talking about Rocket Man here. Problems that he can't even fathom. But he will be, mice eat away at things. He will be nibbled away at. So, for example, he will he will lose his government contracts, right? He'll lose Starlink. He'll lose Tesla. He'll lose whatever. And the first card I can mirror with this last card. So if this eats away at things, what will be eaten away at? I'm the smartest guy in the room. He will find out in short order that he's not. So will his third party threat come to anything? I don't think it will. Because, I mean, who likes him? Wasn't he the creator of Doge? Like, why would he think anybody would follow him? He's delusional. Now, also, I saw a clip of who getting ready to go to Alligator Alcatraz, which I'll talk about in a minute. But he was asked point blank by a reporter if he was going to deport Musk. And when we say deport, we're not talking about to Canada, because please don't put that on Canada. I love Canada. If I end up going anywhere with all this, that's where it's going to be, Canada. No, deport him to South Africa. So the reporter said, "Are you going to deport him, Musk?" And 47 said, well, on the one hand, it's an answer he always gives, right? He said, well, we're going to be looking at that. I'm going to be looking at that. We have to look at that. Now, he didn't say the other thing that he always says, I'll decide in 2 weeks. He didn't say that, but he did say, I'll have to look at that. I mean, that would certainly clip Rocket Man's wings, would it not? So, will 47 in the end, uh, will he start deportation uh, for Rocket Man? Will he initiate deportation moves against Rocket Man? All right, and so let's see. What do I want to use for that? I gotta look at my cards. I gotta think what I want to. Oh, okay. We're gonna use the ship because, deportation. But I'm gonna shuffle really well because I mean we want to get the right answer. So Will 47, I mean, he did threaten. I mean, when the reporter said, "Are you going to do this?" He didn't say, "Oh, for God's sake, no." He said, "Well, I'm going to look at that." So that was a threat. I just want to know whether it's going to be any more than a threat. Will 47 initiate deportation proceedings against Rocket Man? Okay, and we're looking for the ship. Okay, so this is deportation proceedings against Rocket Man. Well, let's put it this way. I don't think that it was just a throwaway answer when 47 said, "Oh, I'll have to look at that." So we have the scales, the garden, deportation, the rider, and the letter. So I think that he will look into 47 will look into the legality of that. I think he will also make a big thing of it, 47, uh, for public consumption. Like I think he'll say more about this. That guy that did that thing with Doge and da 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 da. Because he knows that people don't like him. He wants to blame Rocket Man for any problems that arise or if any uh, discontent that arises from people's experience of Doge. He doesn't want to be blamed for that. He'd rather blame Rocket Man. So this is the people, and he will want to send a message to the people that, deportation, I could do that. And then we have the letter. Now, you know, I think it would be quite tricky for 47 to initiate these proceedings, but part of it could be a legal thing that he tampered with our election. The reason it's tricky is that who was in on the tampering? 47. So, but, he could say something like, I had no idea that Rocket Man was involved in this. Are you kidding? Well, I mean, he's got to be, if he tampered with the vote, he's got to be deported. So now let's look. So here's the card for deportation. Clarifiers are the house, the key, and the dog. I mean, to get rid of him would sort of shut down the whole back and forth conversation between them. And he thinks would make him, 47 thinks this would sort of make people realize, I'm the guy in charge. Look what I could even do to somebody like Rocket Man. So, um, and then these are lawyers. These are lawyers. So I think they're looking at it, like he said. Uh, the rider. So what message would this send? The clarifiers are the whip, the lily, and the fish. Uh, he could say something like, I hired him for a certain amount of time, And I didn't realize he was going to create as much dissension and, you know, difficulty as he did. But now, he's gone. And so we can all be happy and peaceful. Final card in the original line was the letter, which stands for votes. And so how Rocket Man tampered with things is still unclear. But I think people will find out. I think this is part of what those cases are, the Rockland, New York, Rockland County, New York, and other places. Those what those cases are about. Um, it's what Anonymous is talking about, and I think there will be a lot of chatter. And I think that the chatter will be, you know, should we kind of right the scale by getting rid of him? Because if everybody's mad at him, if I, 47, deport him, people will be happy with me. And I will have shown that little whippersnapper who's who and what's what. So I do not throw out the idea of him, at least in a performative way, uh, looking at deportation for Rocket Man. I think he will do that. Okay. Uh, so Alligator Alcatraz. Okay, this is terrible. This is the modern day version of Nazi um, concentration camps. This is a camp that is being built even as we speak in the Florida Everglades. And let me tell you something, Florida in the summer in the Everglades, the heat, the humidity, the mosquitoes, which by the way carry illness, but okay. Uh, it's a tent prison that's being put up, which means that there won't be, I mean, they might have fans, I hope, but they're not going to have like air conditioning. I'm sure that the bathroom facilities will be inadequate, let's just say. The big joke, which is hardly funny at all, is that the place, they can cut costs on guards because alligators and pythons can deal with that. He was asked, he being you know who, was asked, where did you get this idea? And of course he said, because this is true, he wasn't lying, he was telling the truth, from the movies. The movies about Alcatraz and Sing Sing. And he loves old movies. And he loves the idea of recreating Alcatraz, which was a horrible place to be. Um, there is merch that people can buy with Alligator Alcatraz cups and hats and t-shirts and stuff. It's sick. So I guess I want to ask, what will be the trajectory of this? Now, the other thing is with the Supreme Court being who they are, I mean, I think anybody who is any kind of way brown or black should start growing eyes in the back of their head because I think we are all potential detainees, we'll call them. I think we all potential guests at Alligator Alcatraz. Because I think the ultimate goal of certainly Trump, Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation, Leonard Leo and his whole thing, I think it is to have a white America. So that's why they want the birth rate among white women to go up. That's why they are snatching everybody off the streets. Uh, what will be the trajectory of Alcatraz, Alligator Alcatraz. The plan is to build a second one in Florida. And 47 says that his goal is to have them, quote, all over the country. So that's the plan. What is the actual trajectory? And I'm going to use the coffin to stand for Alligator Alcatraz for obvious reasons. You know, the coffin is actually the card for prison. Um, so it can certainly be a card that stands for a concentration camp. What is the trajectory of Alligator Alcatraz? What will happen with that whole concept? Okay, we're looking at the future of this Alcatraz concept. We have the star, the house, coffin that stands for Alligator Alcatraz, the stork, and then the birds. So, I mean, I think that he has said that he thinks this is the future of how to do this, how to incarcerate large groups of people until you can deport them or do whatever you're going to do. This will create, fifth card, a lot of talk. I mean, are we where were we in 1939 Germany? What's going on here? Are we in, 1944? Where are we? Uh, the house is mirrored by the stork. He really thinks, because he's in the White House, he thinks this is a great solution. He thinks stork is about positive change, so he likes this idea. So let's look at the program itself. We've got the two women cards. Oops. And we have the bear. And remember that the bear is the bully, the narcissist, the cruel one. The bear is not always this. Sometimes the bear is some wonderful things, but not here. And this is about just lording it over people, um, disempowering people altogether in a kind of using brute force. So that's the point. That's the point of it. Uh, Stork, now that I'm going vertically, clarifiers are the scale, the scythe, and the key. I think that in the end, uh, the the law, Supreme Court, whatever it is, will say, yeah, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. Um, we're not going to have concentration camps in the US. Now, that's what I think the cards say. The Erica part of me says, "Oh, really? Is Thomas and Alito going to say that? Really?" But I do think the court's going to overturn the legality of this. Um, and then we have the birds, and the clarifiers are the mountain, the dog, and the young man. People will not be able to have access to their lawyers, right? I mean, that's one of the problems. I mean, if you're a lawyer and your client is in Alcatraz, are you gonna, I mean, how are you supposed to get there? I mean, it will create a legal problem. How are people meant to have legal representation that they're guaranteed under the law? This is the legal representation These would be the people incarcerated there, and they are blocked from access to each other. And I don't think that the Supreme Court is going to like that. So uh, I think eventually the concept will be overturned, but not be, I think probably, and this is just intuitive, not immediately, because clearly nobody has stopped him so far, right? Which is to say, there could be some bad things that happen at this place, at which point uh, the law steps in. So, I mean, that's not good. I mean, I'm glad that the law is going to step in and outlaw these concentration camps, but I don't think it'll be um, before some bad things first happen there. So one last question. There is this theory that people travel in soul groups. Um, so, for example, I don't know, take the hippies in the 60s. There was a whole sort of zeitgeist, a whole like-mindedness about peace, love, um, equality, justice, all of that stuff. Um, the boomer generation, and I know boomer is a bad word. I'm on the tail end of the boomer generation. Um, apparently it's a big insult to say, okay, boomer. I think that's pretty funny though. But anyway, they say that people travel in soul groups for particular purposes. And I am curious. There are so many similarities between 47 and his coterie. So coterie, including people like, I'm going to say, Pam Bondi and Stephen Miller, that I wonder if they're not here as a soul group, returned here as a soul group, having been here before as Nazis. I just want to know. Uh, so what's the question? Hmm. Are 47 and his coterie, his contingent, are they reincarnated Nazis? I mean, why not? Why not ask the question? All right, let's see. I'm going to pull 5 cards. I'm going to let Spirit pick them all. Are 47 and Pam Bondi and Stephen Miller and Marco Rubio, etc. Are they, Richard Vogt, are they all coming here as a soul group to sort of do the Nazi thing part two? Got to draw the fifth card. Well, you know what? I'm not going to say that the answer is no. We have fish, birds, clouds is in the middle, scale, and you know who at the end. So, fish. Fish is about emotion. And God knows he and his contingent certainly know how to stir it up, right? Uh, this is a group, a soul group. I can mirror it with scales. Now, if one of the meanings of scales is justice, think of it in a cosmic way, sort of how do we write a scale that's tipped? Do we maybe need to see it really super tipped before all of us say, oh, wait a minute, we need to write that scale? And are these people here in order to see it, to really tip it the wrong way, like in a way that nobody can miss it, so that we all have to wake the up and then write the scale? Is that what that soul group came here for? Now, the center card is interesting. It's clouds. Um, Clouds is a card for confusion, and they do so. They have sown confusion. That's true. I think that their mission is obscured, but I do think that that's their mission. I think it's very interesting that this card popped up because to me, this is a soul group. I want to pull cards on those clouds and see what we get. Yep. So, you know, we have as a country paid lip service to being one way while actually being quite something different. And all of us are having to come to terms with that. You know, the image that I always talk about, especially in my Substack, is the idea of a fun house where, we've sold this idea of what America is and what America means to the world and to ourselves. And yet there's been all these things here that are just wrong, but we're supposed to act like we don't see them. So this has been that sort of failure to see ourselves clearly. And that could be why they came here. It could be a soul mission to help us see ourselves clearly. Now, understand this, on a human level, they don't say, yeah, that's why we're here. We want America to really see itself for how she's been, and we're trying to help you all out. They don't, on a conscious level, they are not conscious of this. But on a soul level, I suspect this is exactly what it is. We say we are one thing, but we are another. We have obfuscated our true essence. When really, think about it, we're a country founded on money and slavery and whatever else that's not good. But we sell the world this idea of liberty and justice for all and mom and apple pie and Chevrolet and the flag and all of that. We say one thing, but we do another. This is people being asleep. Remember what 47 said? He said, America will be woke no more because, in his personality self, he likes this confusion and people being asleep. He said, I love the uneducated voter. Well, yeah, I bet he does. But his soul is here to show us what a mess this is, our lack of clarity, to sow dissension among us, to have us have to have these hard conversations that nobody wants to have. Can't we just go back to the way it was and just not talk about certain things? No, we can't. We can't. What we have to do is start looking at ourselves really clearly. And the fact that the rider is the last card, I think that's why they're here. I'm not saying that we should therefore thank them, love them, feel good about them. They are, they sow the seeds of chaos. But on a soul level, it's the universe's way of saying, wake up to all the rest of us. So yeah, I do think that they've done this before. They've come here before as a group. And you know, World War II was a lesson to everyone. But did the lesson take uh, one answer? Israeli Holocaust of Gaza. Pretty sure the lesson didn't take. So here we are in the United States having another opportunity to learn the lesson and to get it right this time. Hope we do. Okay, tomorrow I will be writing on Substack. So tomorrow's the what? Second? Yeah, tomorrow's the second. I will be here on the third, which is Thursday. And then I'll just read cards and I'll look at the fourth. And then Dr. Lena and I are recording on the fourth, but I'll put that up on the fifth. Listen, thank you so much for your support of this channel. We are so close to 35. It's not even funny. We are, let's see, where are we? Look it up. We are, okay, we only have 825 more subscribers to get to 35,000. I would love if we could do that in a month so that I can spend a couple of hours of my birthday doing personal readings for you. So tell all your friends to like, subscribe, share, all of that. And if you've got questions that you'd like me to look at with Dr. Lena, because I know there were people last time who said, oh, I wish I were in the room. I wish I could ask you this or that or the other. Then why don't you put those questions here, under this video in the comments section, and I'll go through them and maybe we can pick some of them to discuss. So that would be good. All right, you all, have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I will see you here again on Thursday. Take care.